Hello everyone, Lau here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 3 of my Q&A. Yeah, you just asked a lot of questions and I could not put them in one video, not in two, it's 3 videos. So let's get back into the questions. Okay, next question from Kate Rosario. Kate Rosario wants to know, big brother ponies do you have? 6, 7, 8, 9, I think. I just want to show them to you. The normal 6 ones that were released in Germany. Woo. So I've got, you know, the normal ones. Wigwam, Chief, Steamer, Tex, Salty, Barnacle. This is the German set. 3 of them that belong to the normal US set were not released over here. Of those I have Quarterback, but he's still in headless state because I'm trying to get his body color and head color to match, so he's not on display. And then I actually only have the 3 normal daddies. I consider them also to be big brother ponies because they are on the same molds, you know. Those here. I have Daddy Bouquet, Daddy Sweet Celebrations, and Daddy Apple Delight. I think that's it. Then Kate Rosario also wants to know what's my favorite toy line. Well, G1 My Little Pony. Actually, that's not hard to guess, right? From everything I already was talking about. Yeah, my favorite toy line is the first generation of My Little Pony. All My Little Pony in general, especially the first one, and I mean, a close second would probably be Barbie and Polly Pocket. Maybe Lady Lovely-Locks. Yeah, but nothing reaches My Little Pony. And also, how many Nirvana ponies do you have? And that's a little bit more tricky because actually a Nirvana pony is a pony that has a different, you know, country stamp on their hoof, so was produced in a different country other than, you know, China or Hong Kong, because most, especially from the US side of things, all of the ponies that were released there, almost all of them have a China or Hong Kong stamp. The earlier ones, all of them were produced in Hong Kong. A little bit later, it switched over to China. But in other parts of the world, ponies were also produced in different countries. For example, a lot of ponies that were, especially from the earlier ones, that were out here in Germany, for example, or in other parts of Europe, were produced in Italy. So a pony that has Italy stamped on the hoof is a Nirvana pony. But as I'm living here, that's not even that strange, because they were the normal ones out here. And for example, ponies of Argentina or produced in Mexico. When you are in that part of the world, are they actually Nirvana ponies for you? When you are Argentinian, and are Argentinian ponies then Nirvanas for you? So that's why I'm kind of hesitating to call all my Italy ponies Nirvana ponies. Because I have a lot of Italy ponies. I mean, not a lot, but from the earlier lines, I have a lot of Italy ponies. Most of the ponies, from the rainbow ponies, first and second set, or the normal unicorns, blah blah blah. A lot of them were released, produced in Italy here, and then they didn't have any glittery symbols, for example. I have probably 20 to 25 Italy ponies, but they are not rare or expensive or anything over here. It's actually the other way around. They are worth less than the ones with the glittery symbols here. So yeah. In terms of other ones, I have 2 Macau ponies. I have 1 Mexican pony, 1 Mexican Peachy. I have this Argentinian Minty that I showed you. Do I have more? Ooh. And yeah, I have a couple of no country ponies. That means they don't have any country stamped on them, which usually relates them back to being produced in Spain. So I have maybe about 3 or I don't know, maybe 5 or something, no country ponies. So technically I have a lot of Nirvana ponies if you count the Italy ones in. But as I don't my feeling is I don't have a lot of Nirvana ponies. So maybe just a handful of real Nirvana ponies, you know, one Argentinian, 2 Macau, etc. Next question. Metronoma 1 wants to know, do you know how many G1 ponies you still need to complete your collection? We already had a similar question, but yeah, it's a little different. And also, do you have a list or something where you write down which ones you want to buy next? Or is it just random? Which ones are you looking for and end up buying? So, no, I don't know how many I need for completing My Little Pony collection, because I already said the same sentence. There is not such a thing as a complete My Little Pony collection. You would have to limit it. You could say, I'm going for a complete US collection, a complete US set. That means every pony that was available in the US. Or I would say, like for example, I go for a complete German collection. Every pony that was officially released in Germany. Okay, that would be maybe at least possible to tackle, but a complete My Little Pony collection is not possible. There's so many variants and ponies that were just released in parts of the world, and of those they are already variants, and do you count variants or not? And it's impossible. It is literally impossible. I'm 100% sure that not every pony that was produced is known nowadays. Like for example, especially in the South American, or like you know, let's not call it, these are not all South America, but they are like also Latin America, let's call it Latin American countries, like Argentinian ponies for example. Sometimes they are like this crazy many different variants of this pony, and probably we don't know all of them. So there's not such a thing, and I would not like stop at one point. The only point I would stop collecting My Little Pony would be when it's not fun for me anymore. I would always want to have more ponies. And even if it's just little differences, like this pony has pink eyes, it's the same pony and has purple eyes or something like that. So I would always like still collect, and there is not such a thing as a complete collection. As I said, just from the normal, and they're not even normal to me because I'm from Europe, but the US set, I still need more than 150. And then Europe probably also around the same, and then like variants and like South American ponies, and nah, I don't know. And I don't have a list that I have to like which ponies do I want to buy next. Okay, checked off. No, you're correct, it's random. When I just go online, type in My Little Pony, Mein kleines Pony, Mio Mini Pony, Mon petit poney, different languages depending on where I'm looking on eBay. I type all different languages, or just pony or Pferdchen on all of the different like sites, and I have a look what's coming up for good prices that I don't have, and I decide then if I want to go for it and ask the seller or whatever, or click buy now or bid on an auction. It's random. Yeah, it's random. And sometimes I even buy doubles now when I think about trade bait, or when I see it's a variant. Yeah, it's random. Pony Girl asks, hello, my question is, when did you start collecting? I kind of already explained that in the very first part of the video, where I explained everything about like my toy collecting journey. But again, to remind you, I started collecting My Little Pony in 2013, I think, but really got full into the swing in 2020. And which pony was my first one? I think she's probably, or she, Pony Girl, is probably asking about my first one to recollect, not my first childhood pony. The first one when I started collecting My Little Ponies was Baby Moon Dancer. I just went on eBay, typed in My Little Pony G1, and this one came up, and I loved it, and I still have it. I think very shortly after that I got also, is it actually Chatterbox or Talk-A-Lot? I think I said Chatterbox, it's actually Talk-A-Lot. The purple talking pony, that was one of my childhood ponies, Talk-A-Lot, yeah. I think I probably got her almost at the same time as her, but she just arrived like one day later or something like that. But technically, first My Little Pony of my collection. So Pony Girl wants to know, how many G1s do you have? And yeah, I had to count them. Luckily you just asked about G1s, so last time I counted, which was maybe a year ago or something, I don't know, I had about 250. And now, like 2 days ago, counted again, I have around 400 G1 My Little Ponies. But it depends on, do I count doubles, like real doubles? Or do I also count the ones that are still in my bin of I have to rehair them? Do I also count those? And I have also a couple that are not even rehaired and are doubles. If I really count like every single one of the ones that I have maybe 420 or something. But if I just mean the ones that I want to have on display and I still not have rehaired, whatever, it's around a little bit over 400. Yeah. Next question. Okay, so we're getting to the more personal questions. I still want to stay here a little bit. Let's stay here. Because I think I want to change it up with another location. Maybe? Oh, let's start with the personal questions. I actually don't know if this was really a question for the Q&A, but Emily Fiffold asked, actually, I've always wondered how your English is so good. And I just thought maybe this was meant to be for the Q&A. Actually, I just learned English at school and I really liked it. At one point it really clicked. And I loved to watch, the movies that I loved, that I already knew in German, watch them in original language, like still when I was in school. And as I said, one day it just clicked and I was kind of able to freely speak. And I always loved the language. I made my, I made my A-levels, Abitur. Or in general at school I had English as my profile course and as my Leistungskurs. So Leistungskurs means one of the specific subjects that I did my A-levels in. So it was my first Leistungskurs. And I loved it. And I then started also watching, at that time I watched a lot of anime, or even a little bit later I watched a lot of anime in Japanese but with English subtitles. And at one point I started watching a lot of English YouTubers. And my job that I'm now in for, I think I'm with the company for 5 years now or something, a little bit more than 6 years already. It's an English speaking company. So the main language is English, so all the meetings, everything is held in English. And I'm communicating with lots of international suppliers, and that's in English. A lot of my colleagues are international anyways, internationally, they're international. And I actually never considered my English to be really good, because I've never been to a foreign country for longer than just the vacation. I've not had an exchange year in America or something like that, or did an au pair in England. No, I never did. I just really genuinely love speaking English. And I just have a lot of kind of experience over the years from all these things that I just said. So I don't know. I think I have a really strong German accent probably. And I probably make a lot of mistakes. And sometimes vocabularies are completely slipping out of my brain. But yeah, I just really love the language. And yeah, at one point it just clicked when I was in school. Rachel Retro. She had a lot of questions, not a lot. It's really, she has a couple of good questions. One of them I already answered, was about Polly Pocket, because if you don't know, Rachel Retro also has a YouTube channel. She mostly shows Polly Pockets, but also other vintage toys. she asks, where are you in the line of your siblings? Like oldest, middle, youngest? Yeah, I have 2 sisters. Both of them are a lot older than me. I am the youngest. Like I am 34 years old right now. My sisters are already 50, over 50. So there's a huge gap between the age span of my sisters and me. So much that I actually didn't grow up with them. They were already living by themselves when I was a child. So they are my sisters, actually they're my half sisters. But maybe I kind of grew up more with them as kind of aunts in a way, you know. And my niece actually was very much more closer to me, more like a sister. She asks, what's your favorite season? Summer. Easy answer. Summer. I'm a summer girl. I love summer. Can't be hot enough for me. I love going to the beach. I just love, you know, sitting at the balcony and eating my breakfast there, being able to walk around with a t-shirt or whatever. I love the summer so much. Everything's green, it's bright, I hate winter and the dark season. Right now, like January, February, it's the worst. Summer. Did you collect anything as a kid or at any other time in your life before you started collecting toys? And if so, what did you collect? Not really. I briefly tapped on that when I was talking about my collecting journey. Like I had toys as a child, I never collected them. And there was also, I mean, yeah, as everybody in my generation probably, I collected stickers when I was a child. I had sticker albums. So the normal ones, you know, you just got a couple of stickers at the sheet and you put them randomly in your sticker book and you could exchange, trade them with others, but not really very actively or whatever. And I had a couple of these Panini sticker albums, you know, from Pokemon, from Digimon. I think I had a Simpsons one. I had probably from one of my soap operas that I loved back then, GZSZ, I had one, something like that. But never really collected anything beforehand. So as I said, it was a kind of a foreign concept to me. Why would you like to have things that you just put on shelves when you can dress and show the whole world what you love? And I also wouldn't say that I collected clothing or fashion pieces. I didn't collect them. I wanted to have them to wear them. So yeah, no, not really. How did you come up with your name Skypainter? That's a little bit of a longer story, but let's start. When I was huge into gyaru fashion, that's one of the J fashion, the Japanese fashion styles that I was wearing from around 2011 when I discovered it in Japan up until maybe 2016. I was really in the gaijin, so foreign gyaru community. We had gyaru circles, we held events, we blah blah blah, all of that. And I had a fashion blog, gyaru fashion blog, as all of us had. And I wanted a name for that blog. And I wanted it not to be something super boring like, oh, my gyaru life or something like that. So I wanted something that sounded a little bit more elaborate. And I always remembered the name of actually a Lolita fashion brand, also a Japanese fashion style, but a different one, you know, the ones that look more like, you know, Rococo dresses or something like that, really cutesy, you know, cupcake skirts, stuff like that style. And the brand is called Baby the Stars Shine Bright. It always sounded so lovely to me. It's like one big sentence, and I wanted something like that for my blog. And I remembered that the artist, the singer Enya, if you know her, once had a compilation, so a best of album called Paint the Sky with Stars. I used to listen to Enya a lot during my, you know, Lord of the Rings Tolkien time, and I had that album, and yeah, there was also a song called Paint the Sky with Stars. And I just called my blog Paint the Sky with Stars. Still love that. I would call if I would have a fashion label, I would call it Paint the Sky with Stars. And I think the address, the web address was Lau Paint the Sky or something like that. Lau Paint the Sky with stars or something. I kind of took that over for my Facebook, my normal Facebook name, Lau Paint the Sky. It's written as one thing, like Painteski, Paint the Sky, because it sounds almost like a normal name, Painteski or something, Paint the Sky. And then I created, it's a kind of a long story, I kind of created a, like on Facebook, a fan page for my cosplays. So I still have that page, but I don't post anything on there anymore. And that's called, I just like turned it around. Instead of Paint the Sky, I made it Skypainter, because that sounded a lot like Skywalker. And I was doing a lot of Star Wars cosplay during that time. So Skywalker, Skypainter it was. And I just stuck with that. Then my Instagram handle was, I think, it was Lau still Paint the Sky. And when I did my YouTube, at first it was called Lau Skypainter Cosplay, and then I just skipped the cosplay and it's Lau Skypainter still. And I love that. Skypainter or the other way around, Paint the Sky, I will always stick with these two. And also I love the meaning. It's like, you know, the sky at night is so dark and I don't like dark things. But if the stars appearing, like if you would do that yourself, you would paint the sky with stars, everything looks beautiful then. And that's kind of, you know, even with cosplay it was a little bit more meaningful because I did the cosplays myself. I painted this normal boring life with my cosplays, so to say, and make it beautiful. And I still do that. I surround myself with beautiful things. Not so much of a crafty thing right now with like toy collecting, but like I love that. That's where my name comes from. I don't even say it that often. I just say, hi, I'm Lau. I'm not saying, hey, this is Lau Skypainter, welcome back to my channel. But still, I will always keep that kind of combination, Paint the Sky or Skypainter. Thought it would be a long explanation. If you had, we're still at Rachel's questions. If you had to give up your whole collection except of one toy line, which one would you keep? I assume it's My Little Pony, but maybe you'll surprise me. No, you're right, it's My Little Pony. I have thought about that, because sometimes it's getting a little bit overwhelming. I find all of these Barbies, oh my god, I don't have space for them anymore. How about if I would get any more Polly Pockets, where do I put them? Like, oh my goodness, do I actually really need all of these other toy lines? I mean, right now, yeah, I still need them. I cannot give them up. But if I would need to, for whatever reason, and I could just keep one toy line, it would be My Little Pony. I would be happily just keeping the first generation of My Little Pony and then expand in that way and have more like capacity for like hunting down little accessories and stuff like that. Maybe one day I do that. That day is still far away, so I'm super happy with all of that stuff here. And she also asked, what's my least favorite toy line? Yeah, I have an answer for that. Like, actually she even asked, what's my least favorite toy line in your collection? Because other than that I could say, well, Transformers is my least favorite toy line, we don't even have any. But like, of my collection. Actually, Kenner Littlest Pet Shop. Yeah. I had them when I was little, so there are memories to a couple of the sets, and I love a couple of the things, and I will still always, when I find more of the ponies or of the horses of this Kenner Littlest Pet Shop toy line, I will get them, but I'm not really into them. They don't display very well, and they are also very hidden back here. You cannot even see. Oh no. Let's just grab one. They're cute, don't get me wrong. But, whoops, whatever. I don't like them too much. It has gotten this far that I have, you know, I found a huge lot once at the flea market and was like head over heels, oh my goodness, they're all complete. But already from them I have traded away a couple. Also the bigger sets with these whole like light up mountains, etc. I've traded them. And I don't feel anything other than happy with the things I got for them. So, not deliberately getting rid of them right now. Still would pick them up at flea markets, yes, but it's kind of my least favorite toy line of my collection, yeah. Okay, I switched over to like just actually 10 centimeters or like 20 centimeters to the right from my last spot, but suddenly you see another shelf. Yeah, so let's continue. Next question comes from Ruby Coconut. Okay, it's a couple of cosplay questions. So she says, or he, but I don't know. I always put your videos on when I'm working on cosplay. I love your channel. I followed your cosplay and now feel I've learned so much about toys I had as a kid. My question is about cosplay. Do you have any costumes you're working on or planning on working on or conventions like you're excited for 2023? So there will definitely be cosplays that I'm doing in 2023. I'm going to Star Wars Celebration in London in April, and I at least wanna have like one new costume for myself, and I will also do one for my friend Michi. Probably just one per person. And we're planning on an Andor cosplay. So my friend Michi, she's a huge fan of Mon Mothma, has always been, and Mon Mothma has like the best costumes ever in that show. Like Andor is like one of the live action like TV or streaming shows from Disney Plus that has recently come out. To be quite honest, not my absolute favorite of the Star Wars shows because it's really dark. It's really adult. It's really almost too dark for me. But like, it's amazing. And from the beginning, we knew that I would like have to make a cosplay of Mon Mothma for my friend Michi. And I was thinking like, what could I do? And I came up with Val. There's a female character called Val. She's blonde, which is really rare in Star Wars. So I'm gonna do a cosplay of her. And probably in the more, elaborate, sophisticated outfit when she meets Mon Mothma on Coruscant. This is definitely planned. And I will do that. But I'm not that excited for it because, I don't know, time. Because April is not that far away. Actually, it would have to start pretty soon. And dedicating time for making a costume takes time out of doing YouTube videos, for example. But there are also other cosplays that I would really like to make. But I don't know if that will happen because I've actually no other conventions planned this year. Not cosplay related conventions. I would still really like to make more like toy related cosplays. Like what's actually planned for like, I'm feeling like 100 years and I've never did it. It's a Lady Lovelocks cosplay. Yeah, I actually just want to make the typical like toy outfit of the first Lady Lovelocks doll. I even have like the material for it already. I would love to make a couple of Barbie outfits. So not Barbie movie or something. I know people are doing that sometimes, but just really classic Barbie doll outfits. I have a couple in my brain, but I don't know. I don't have like conventions to go to really that I've planned. So I don't know. I also would like to make more of, Megan from My Little Pony, Annabelle, more of her outfits. Time. When I do cosplays, I cannot do anything for YouTube, and I don't want to it would be too stressful to record myself while doing a cosplay. I said I don't want to really make cosplay content anymore. If it would be a toy related cosplay, I would maybe still show it on the channel as a dedicated video because it doubles up for both. But yeah. And the next question comes from Red1007. Actually, what hair products do you use for your hair? It always looks so nice in your videos. Thank you so much. I already talked about my hair probably in the first part or the second part of the Q&A, I don't know. And again here, I can just tell you, I don't even use any special products. I wash my hair with a normal shampoo. I actually use Dove. Dove is like my favorite brand of like hair products. And I use also from Dove a conditioner. And this conditioner I would, for example, never use for ponies because it makes the pony hair really oily. But I kind of need that for my hair, I guess. Yeah, and that's it. I don't use any like softeners afterwards or like whatever. I just use shampoo and conditioner. And sometimes I use a blow dryer, but really rarely. You know, sometimes I use a straightener or a curling iron for my bangs. And I explained how I do these kind of waves. I just, when they are still a little bit wet, do that. Do it with both sides. Ta-da. Sleep on it, wake up and ta-da. I have a couple of, you know, different of hair curling irons, smaller ones, bigger ones, flat irons, smaller ones, bigger ones. I have these crimp irons. Yeah, but other products, not really anything specific. And then the next questions, yeah, they are cosplay questions. What motivated you to cosplay? And what was my first cosplay? And how I feel about my old costumes versus like when I'm doing costumes now or my newest costumes. So first of all, what motivated me to cosplay? Cosplay was a really good way to incorporate all of your, like all of the fandoms that you love. You're doing something with them instead of just, you know, watching this TV show or watching this anime. You're doing something creative with this property. You are creating a costume. You can kind of step into the footsteps of that character. You don't have to act like the character. That never was a thing for me. You just look like it. And ultimately, you're feeling more connected with these things that you love. And you can take that to every different thing that you like. You know, I did cosplays of my favorite Japanese band. I did cosplays of Disney characters. I did cosplays of manga anime characters, Star Wars, vintage toys. You can cosplay literally everything. You can also just decide to cosplay your favorite season or whatever. You can create things on your own. It's not always about recreating. You can also take your own creative liberty. I mostly always stick to the original. That's what I like most. That's kind of what motivated me. I learned how to sew before I did cosplay because I was so much into Japanese street fashion and I couldn't buy any of that here. So I created like my own colorful clothes before that. I learned that in a sewing course. And with my teacher from that course, I created then after 1 or 2 years of learning how to sew my first costumes. And that's why actually my first costumes already looked good. So they were also clean from the inside and all of that. That was, oh my goodness, back in 2008. So long ago. My first cosplay was a Pokemon cosplay. So not a Pokemon, but a character from the Pokemon TV show. So from the anime. So a human character. His name is Harley. I bet nobody knows him. I loved him. It was my favorite character and it was a kind of a simple outfit. And I said like, I just want to look like him. I want to cosplay him. Already back then he was a super minor, not known character. That was my first cosplay. I still love it. I still like the character. So yeah, I cross-dressed. So I often cosplayed male characters back then. Although he was not really looking male. Never, anyone would probably not have guessed that this was a male character. And the only thing I did not do back then were using wigs. I was using my own hair. I colored it purple. I had purple hair then. So this is a little bit like I would not do that anymore. But all of my cosplays, I have no cosplay that I don't like. All of them are like kind of good in my eyes, or at least as good as I was able to do at that point. So, and as I have not really done a lot of cosplays in the last 2-3 years, yeah, I cannot really argue. My cosplays were perfect back then because I did them. My cosplays right now are shit because I don't do any of them. You know, I'm not active in cosplay at the moment. more questions. Another Rachel. Yeah, Rachel 8989. I actually, by the way, I actually love your Instagram. Rachel, she asks, I love your style. So I would like to know where you get your amazing outfits from. Thank you. So thank you so much. I just don't know if you mean like literally the pieces where I get them from, or are you more like talking about where I get my outfit ideas from? Because the pieces that I have, like a lot of them I have from flea markets. You know that I go toy hunting, and when I see a cute outfit piece, I also grab it. But I also have a lot of normal pieces from, you know, the normal fast fashion brands like H&M, and I actually really like Monkey and Bershka. So I have a couple of pieces from them. I think this is even from Monkey, this piece here. But I actually don't go shopping so often, and also I'm not the biggest online shopper. Although I work for an online retail fashion company. So like I did not add a lot of fashion pieces in the last years. Lately I have, because I have like bought a lot like at the place where I'm working for, because I have discount code for that online fashion retailer. And this is like one of my newest, you know, pieces. It's so cool because it's like not asymmetric, but in terms of the pattern, also at the back it's different, two different sides and different like patterns and stuff like that. So I splurged, bought these trousers. I love colorful stuff, you know that. Oh my gosh. A lot of that is actually from Monkey, because we also sell that on the website. Oh my goodness, look at this color. So, you know that my vibe is more like very colorful, and then mixing here the two different sleeves and different parts, different colors, color blocking. And I have a lot of fashion pieces that I still have since, I don't know, years, since 10 years. I still love to wear a lot of the pieces that I bought when I was in Japan. I still have a couple of, you know, the pieces from Japanese brands, like Liz Lisa, like Kokoruru, like Daya. A lot of these brands aren't even existing anymore. So it's a complete mix, but where do I get my outfit ideas from? Yeah, it's still a lot of like inspiration from my J-Fashion days. So in terms of layering, in terms of color combination, coordinating an outfit, I often just like go through my old Japanese fashion magazines, especially the Gyaru fashion magazines from like 2010 up until 2014 maybe. Egg, Popetin, Garula, Ransky, Garula was the brand, and also Kira still a little bit, Agiha. And I go through those magazines and I get immediately like inspiration, but I also draw a lot of just inspiration from, you know, 80s fashion, 90s fashion, like, and I'm not really going for like participating in like what's modern, what are the trends right now, because the trends are like it's so fast, you know, that it would be maybe something, a specific pattern trendy, and the next month it's not, then they are already, what is it called, QG or something, when you're not trendy anymore. There are even words that I don't understand. So no, I'm not following any trends, but if something is trendy and then it is sold because it's trendy and I like it, I grab it. So yeah, Japanese fashion from like 10 to 20 years ago, general fashion from the 80s and 90s, and throwing that all into one bin, and I have like kind of staple fashion pieces. I love to wear berets, for example. You know that. So that's where I get my ideas from, and in general my outfits from. But Rachel also wants to know what's my current Grail toys, and I already talked about that. It's I don't know, in terms of other toy lines, I don't really have Grail toys other than like My Little Pony. For example, as I said, I don't have a Grail Barbie. Sure, like Magical Hair Mermaid or like Hollywood Hair Teresa or something like that. But I love a lot of Barbies, and it's not a need to have that one or something like that. Same with Polly Pocket. I said, yeah, the Moonride pencil case, but like it's a white whale. It will never show up, never, and especially not in my price range. It's a Grail, but I will never have it, so I'm not even really thinking about it. With ponies, the last pony friends, I already said it. Mint Dreams, German variants, German like rainbow ponies, and a lot of others, especially the other Grail toys. Sure, probably I also have from completely other toy lines. Like there is a toy line called, God, I actually don't remember what it's called, something with Loch Ness. Oh my goodness. I will put the name here, now I'm blanking on the name. Wow, that would be a Grail to have these vinyl toys. And there are also like probably other toy lines that I want. For example, my Moon Dreamers. Here I would like to expand, but there's not just one of these toys that I like as my Grail. I don't know, so I always go Grails, My Little Ponies. And she asks, what's my favorite Disney princess? It's Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. She has always been my favorite Disney princess. When I was little, like, Sleeping Beauty was one of my absolute favorite Disney movies, in general movies. I always loved her, probably more the look of her than like her character, because she doesn't really have a character in the movie. She isn't even like featured in the movie that often. She has the least lines in a Disney like princess movie has in her own movie of every Disney princess. So I love the movie more because of the fairies and of Prince Philip. He's definitely my favorite Disney prince. But yeah, I just always loved Aurora, and I just love how the movie looks in general. So it's also one of my favorite Disney movies and all over. She's so beautiful. I know, yeah, she's white and blonde. But I'm also white and blonde, so I gravitated towards already. I always picked the blonde Barbies. You know, I was blonde, I'm still blonde. But yeah, she is still to this day my favorite Disney princess. Not for the character, for her aesthetic. And now we're getting to the last question of, not the last question of the video, but of Sonja, so SF. Because we had two of her questions already. She always puts the question in German, but favorite Disney movie. So we had the favorite Disney princess and now the favorite Disney movie. And yeah, I kind of already said Sleeping Beauty, and it is one of my favorite Disney movies. Probably not my top favorite Disney movie. Another one of the more, classic ones, although not that old, more from my childhood, is Pocahontas. The movie itself is probably even more my favorite than Sleeping Beauty. I know it's controversial, it's not accurate to history, but still I love the meaning of it and I love the music so much. Like Pocahontas, really high up there. But if I really could just pick one movie, I would probably go with a Pixar movie, and it would be Inside Out. It is my favorite Disney movie. It's a pretty new one, considering, you know, I actually am always into, you know, vintage stuff, etc. You know, I also love some of the really super classic ones other than Sleeping Beauty. I love, like, the very first. I love Snow White a lot, but it's not the best movie in terms of storyline, etc. Inside Out is my absolute favorite. It's not a movie that I could just turn on and be happy with it. For me, it's really intense to watch that movie. I get so emotional when I watch that movie. Like, I mean, yeah, it's about emotions, so makes sense. But like, really, everything that they created in that movie, in terms of how your emotions, your feelings, your memories, your like things like in your brain are working. I mean, of course, I know I don't have little people sitting in my brain or whatever, but it all makes so much sense, and I can relate so much to like all of these things. Like, I know what my core memories are. I know, I already get chills when I'm just thinking about it or talking about it. Like, everything in that movie I can relate to my own life, and from the middle part of that movie, I'm just sitting and sobbing and crying, and the next good, but this is, in my opinion, the best and my favorite Disney movie. And it's a Pixar movie. If we would cheat a little bit and say like, okay, and what's my favorite Disney movie that has multiple sequels? Toy Story. Toy Story, Toy Story, Toy Story. It is just so good. And not only because I'm a toy collector. I mean, that's the tip of the iceberg. It's about toys, but like the characters, all of the stories, so emotional, so like, and I like every single one of the Toy Story movies. My favorite one's actually Toy Story 2, I think, then Toy Story 3, then Toy Story 4, and then Toy Story 1. Toy Story 1's also really, really, really good, but I don't know, I like the others even a little bit more. Yeah, but Inside Out, the Toy Story movies, Pocahontas, Sleeping Beauty. I say these are my favorites. We're getting to more questions now from Pia Autirit, because I split up her questions. A lot of them were toy related, and now we're getting to the more personal ones. One of them, where was it? Was, what's your job actually, and what are your plans for the future? My job is, I'm working in an office job. I'm working for a online fashion retailer, and my position there is called supply operations specialist. And I'm working with lots of Excel sheets, and I'm communicating with suppliers from all over the world, you know, about like what are the material compositions of these styles, what are the discounts that you can give us on this style, blah blah blah, stuff like that. So I'm kind of in the buying department, but I'm not a buyer. I'm more working with data. That's my job. I learned fashion design assistant and clothing technologist. I studied clothing technology. And I'm still within the kind of fashion business, but I'm not really in a job where I have really have to do with, you know, fashion pieces. I don't have any like fabrics around me or something like that. It's all about data, and yeah. But I'm really happy with my job, because I don't really want a like very like creative job, because I really need that, you know, structured base. I start at that time, I like end, I mean, sometimes I do overtime, but and then I can put all of that away, and then my hobby is my hobby. That's why I'm not making YouTube. Like, I couldn't even do that. I couldn't even earn any money with it, with this little amount of viewers and stuff like that I have. But I would also not want to do that. So in terms of that, my plans for the future are staying as what I am right now, having this normal job and doing YouTube and toy collecting as a hobby. That's my plan for the future. She also asks, may I ask how old you are? I actually said it, I'm 34. I'm born in 1988. And if you have some other hobbies than toys and cosplay, I don't have any time for that. Yeah, I also love to like go out with my bike in the nature. Is that a hobby? I don't know. If I would have time, I would probably still draw and paint more. If I would have more time, I would definitely like maybe get into gaming again, like into retro gaming. I just don't have time. I would probably also want to play the new Pokemon game. I just don't have time. I don't have time for more hobbies. Like, and it's not just like YouTube and toy collecting. With toy collecting, it's like a couple of different hobbies, like going to flea markets, restoration of toys. You know, sometimes I do customs. Do these count as different hobbies? I don't know. So I don't have more time for more hobbies. Otherwise, I would love to clone myself and do so many more things. I would like whatever. Could pick probably up more hobbies. And do you count Star Wars as a separate hobby, for example, or fashion? Do you count that as a hobby? I don't know how you count hobbies, but I have so many interests, and as I said, if I could clone myself to be able to do more in this time that I have in my life, I would do that. I can't. So there's just not a lot of more time for hobbies. For more hobbies, because I already have hobbies. She also wants to know, what's your favorite food and favorite place to visit? My favorite food? Watermelon. I think if I just have to pick one thing, it would be watermelon. If I could pick like a whole like type of food or like a cuisine, I would say Japanese food, because I actually love Japanese food since I visited Japan in 2011. It's not spicy. Every single Japanese food that I've tried is delicious. I'm okay, except for natto maybe, but like, yeah, then I would say Japanese food. And of all of the Japanese food, my favorite is udon, like udon soup, like for example, just, you know, kake udon or something like that. But other than that, watermelon. Do you have any specific plans? Oh, place to visit. Sorry, place to visit. Favorite place to visit? Japan? I don't know. Convention? No. Disney, probably. Disney parks. Disney World, Disneyland Paris, all of that. Yeah, I would say favorite place to visit, the Disney parks. Specific plans for my YouTube channel? No, I just keep doing what I'm doing. I don't plan on reaching any number, or I don't plan on earning any money with my channel, or I don't plan on, I don't know, I plan on, you know, putting out the content that I want to make. I plan on going to flea markets and filming there and putting these videos out. I plan on doing hauls. I plan on doing pony showcase videos. All of that. But no specific other plans, no. How much work is your YouTube channel in hours per week? I cannot say in hours per week, but like my YouTube channel kind of eats up all of my free time. Yeah. Of course, like it kind of combines with my toy collecting, because I do videos about my toy collecting on the YouTube channel. But like probably every single evening I'm editing a video, or like on the weekends I'm filming videos, or I'm going out to the flea market and film there, or like on the evenings when I'm not editing, maybe I'm just preparing for the next video. I write down all of the toys, I research the toys, I identify the Barbies, I clean the toys, because I also have to do that for the videos. Whatever, I rummage around through my collection. And mostly it's always also with the relation of, yeah, I do that also for a YouTube video. Don't get me wrong, I'm not only collecting because of making YouTube videos. It's just a good outlet for showing this stuff. But kind of like There's rarely an evening like after work, because you know I work 8 hours a day, sometimes it's more, and after work there's rarely a day when I just sit at the couch and watch something. Even when I do that, after that I return to editing a video or something, or answering comments or something like that. So yeah. Why did you start the YouTube channel, and would you maybe do a video of how your average day is? No, I would not do that. It's totally boring, because I'm working 5 days a week. Either I'm sitting at my desk and computer at home, or I'm going to the office. And in the morning I just eat something, and then I make my makeup, put my makeup on and put clothes on, and then I'm going to the office, and then I come back. And no, I would not do that. Also, it would be really stressful to film all day long. I think the most interesting stuff you already see on YouTube here from me. That's my collecting things, or when I go to a convention or something like that, I would always film that. But I would not record myself like when I'm preparing my breakfast. No, I would not do that. Why did I actually start YouTube? I just genuinely love YouTube. I watch a ton of YouTube. I'm actually not someone who watches a lot of streaming services. I have Disney Plus, but that's all. I just love to watch YouTube, and that started in 2016, 2015 around, with, you know, cosplay content that I watched. I watched people going to conventions, con vlogs. It evolved into, you know, into Disney YouTubers that I loved. And whenever there's something that I really like, I also want to do that myself. So when I see someone cosplay, then I started doing cosplay. When, you know, I saw those ponies in the photo, I wanted to have them myself. So I watched tons of YouTubers, and I just want to do that myself. So I started off with, you know, I thought, oh, cosplay content might be the right thing for me. And I switched it up to a little bit of Disney content. But then I found like my true love of showing you all of those vintage toys, because that's like the thing I love most at the moment. And as I said, I have kind of an outlet for showing all of these things. Otherwise they would just sit in my collection and nobody would see them. Sure, I could take pictures for Instagram, and I really love to talk about those. And I don't have a lot of real life friends that I can talk to about the toys. So you, my audience, you're kind of my friends that I talk to. Otherwise I wouldn't have a lot of, I could like write messages with people, but I want to talk about the toys. And that's all combined why I do YouTube. I love YouTube. And she also wants to know if I would consider making a video about the history of My Little Pony. I would actually really like to do that, but my biggest issue with that is that I'm not used to these type of toy history videos. You know, I mainly make sit-down videos, camera pointing at me, or sometimes camera pointing at my fingers, whatever I'm doing. I've never done like really scripted videos, because I would need to really script the video beforehand, all of what I want to say, and then find images that I want to put in. And my editing skills are not as good. Like, I could not just sit here, talk about the history of My Little Pony, and then put up a picture here or something while still talking. My editing software doesn't do that. I can always just do a cut, put a picture, and cut back. And also other things, like I cannot like split my voice from, you know, the footage, the picture footage. It's always one. I can only make voiceovers, separate voiceovers. So it's a mixture of not having the editing skills for it, and don't really like, you know, wanting to make like a whole scripted video. One day when I maybe have decided what other editing software I want to use, and if I'm more experienced with editing, I might do that. For now, I can totally recommend just going on Netflix and watching the documentary series The Toys That Made Us. there is a part of My Little Pony, and it's not bad. I mean, a couple of things where I'm like, you could have said it in a different way, or they could have explained it a little bit differently, or that's not really accurate or something. But for the most part, it's a really good documentary series, also about other toy lines. And you will probably also find other videos about history of My Little Pony also on YouTube. So I would like to give my own I would like to make my own video, my own spin. I would like to give it my own spin, but not yet. We're almost at the end, guys. We're almost at the end. So, Phoenix Ash 05 asks, what do you do for work? Not where, but what? I already said it, like working in the kind of a buying department of a big online fashion retailer. It's a German company. We're very international, but we're based in Germany. We're based in Berlin. The company starts with a Z or Z, so maybe you can guess where I'm working for, what I'm working for. And she or he or they, Phoenix Ash, asked, what's your favorite girl toy YouTube channel? I have to take my mobile phone for that, so I'm not forgetting anyone. One thing that I have to say is that I don't think that there is one girl toy YouTuber out there that does the content I would wish to see. So that's why I make my videos, because I think this would be the ideal thing that I would want to see. But there are of course cool YouTubers that are making content about different toy lines, because sometimes it's not about every toy line, but there are specific My Little Pony YouTubers, for example. My Little Pony, Polly Pocket, no My Little Pony, yes, but not really active anymore. But so I think my favorite is actually Rachel Retro right now. Yeah, it's funny because she was such a small YouTube channel when I found her. But now she's growing and she's so good. Mostly she does videos about Polly Pockets or other compact toys, vintage but also modern. But she also has a variety of other stuff she shows. Sometimes things Barbie related, or sometimes it's, Furbies from McDonald's, or I don't know, she's just fun to watch. She sometimes shows her face, but mostly it's just her hands. I think she's my favorite, girl. She does not only show girl toys, because she also shows Mighty Max on similar toys. But I think she's probably my favorite right now. Which other ones? Yeah, of course, there are a lot of, doll YouTube channels. And I'm not really a doll collector. Sure, I collect Barbie. I also collect other vintage doll lines, Cherry Mary Muffin, Lady Lovely Locks. But I'm not really a fan of dolls itself, as in modern dolls, as in having little tiny humans on your shelves. That's not really what I'm into. But still, a couple of doll YouTubers I like. First, most and foremost, Barbie Nation. He is the sole reason why I collect Barbies. Barbie Nation is my absolute favorite. And I will also put all of the links to those channels that I recommend in the description of the video. Actually also like Beauty Inside a Box. He recently shares a lot of more history content about doll lines, Barbies, and he's also really funny, so I like him. What else? Let's just go through all of them. I really loved Kerchi for a while. She only showed Polly Pockets, vintage and modern. But I don't know, she did not have a lot of content recently, and she's also switched up her content a little bit. But still, her old Polly Pocket showcase videos, chef's kiss, so Kerchi. Vintage Whimsy, actually also really like her. Just discovered her because she commented on one of my videos and she mentioned she has a channel. She does really cute videos. She collects a variety of different toy lines, like plushies, like Care Bears, or I think her main collection is Doodle Bears. And she has some really fun videos. Oh, I also like Vintage Gaudi, another vintage. Also a really small channel. She shares vintage and also sometimes modern Polly Pockets, and also recently Barbies. She has a really strong accent. That first threw me off a little bit, but I'm getting into it, and she's really nice. She's a really small channel, but I will link her. Vintage Gaudi. She's from Switzerland, the German-speaking part of Switzerland. That's why she's a really strong accent, but she talks in English. Oh yeah, Retro Geek Crafts. She does My Little Pony restorations. I bet you know her. Really, really recommend it. Oh, another Polly Pocket YouTube channel that's also really good is Pocket Vintage Toys. You probably also know her. She just shows vintage Polly Pockets, so nothing else. Sometimes some craft projects that are Polly Pocket related. Yeah, she's also really good. And then there are a lot of channels that have stopped doing anything, which I'm so sad, like Twice Love Trinkets. She was great. She did restorations of all sorts of toys, She-Ra, ponies, plushies, whatever. Sunset Ponies, where she was showing always like the new basic fun ponies and stuff like that. She's not doing anything anymore. Rainbow Brite Net, she has completely stopped. She was like the biggest Rainbow Brite collector. Yeah, AZ80s girl, she's not doing anything anymore. I still will link those channels because their videos are still up. That's actually it from the you explicitly asked for girl toy related YouTubers. And Phoenix Ash also wants to know, what animated shows are you currently watching? Currently I'm watching The Bad Batch. That's an animated Star Wars show on Disney+. Michi and I, like Michi is one of my best friends. I would just say The Bad Batch is her favorite thing ever right now. Since the first season, it's the second season right now, and I also love it. Like, I'm watching The Bad Batch right now. I'm not really watching a lot of stuff. It's like, I'm sorry to be a bummer. I cannot really tell you a lot of, you know, animated stuff that I'm watching. I'm generally mostly watching YouTube. Other than that, I'm not the biggest, like, I don't watch a lot of stuff. I often rewatch the stuff that I love, like, I don't know, the Clone Wars or something like that. But yeah, but you wanted to know what I'm watching right now, The Bad Batch. Where do you sell your spare toys, if you do so? I don't. Currently I've just like traded toys, and I'm planning to continue doing that. If I have more time during the summer, if I do really my sabbatical, then I might maybe put up a couple of toys for sale, but I generally don't have a lot of doubles. Why are you so freaking cool? She asks. Lol, okay, that's all. No, it probably wasn't the real question. Thank you. Am I cool? I was always one of the uncool kids, you know? Oh, you're actually not one of, you know, you're not drinking, you're not smoking, you're not going to party. We would actually not like to be friends with you anymore. Yeah, that was me. Like, I was the uncool kid, so am I cool? No! Yay! I achieved it! I think there's one more question just. Yeah. Nicole, she or he, like Nicole Liberona, with some other questions already, but you mentioned this question, but I'm really interested in your recommended YouTube channels. So I already was telling you all about the, you know, kind of girl toy related ones, but I watch a lot of YouTube. Let's continue with the more boyish toy YouTube channels. My favorite is Ed's Retro Geek Out and probably Pixel Dan. Yeah, they are big YouTubers, especially Pixel Dan. Pixel Dan's toy hunting videos, I'm constantly binge watching his toy hunting playlists. He's not going to flea markets, but more like to American toy related conventions and vintage toy stores and stuff like that. Ed's Retro Geek Out, he's actually from Europe. So he's from Belgium and he does the same. He's sometimes in the US, but like, I don't know, those guys also like not another retro channel, or like, I don't know, there are a couple of ones, but let's keep it. My favorites are Pixel Dan and at Retro Geek Out. Oh, I also love the Game Chasers. They are into like retro games, but also they have a kind of sub series of toy chasers. So they are also into vintage toys. You know, they are guys, and that's how they act. They burp, they fart. They're very funny. You can like they are doing YouTube videos since 2011. And I just also very often just like rewatch. They have all of that in separate, complete season videos, like season 1 of the Game Chasers. The Game Chasers are just like, I love them. Yeah, there are more, but let's keep it at that. I also, you know, I love to watch some other things, like Disney YouTubers, but like recently I've really gotten into some fashion YouTubers, and if you like my style, then you probably also will love Steal the Spotlight. I'm obsessed with her lookbooks, like, you know, cartoon inspired lookbooks and stuff like that. So very much recommended. Oh my goodness, I watch so much. I also watch a couple of YouTubers that do more like historical dressing, or like mix it up with cosplay a little bit. But like one of my favorites is Rachel Maxey. Like, I don't know, pure entertainment. Really love her. But also Bernadette Banner. She's really great. Like she's like seamstress, like recreating historical gowns and stuff like that. Bernadette Banner, Morgan Donner, very good. But that's really probably not what you want to know. I don't know. There's so many that I watch. Like my favorite, one of my favorite YouTube channels is actually just Star Wars Explained. If you just want some really positive, you know, like reviews, and they're just like, there's nothing negative on that channel, but it's about Star Wars. So if you're into everything new Star Wars Explained. Oh, I also really like Lovely Lore. She's a Lolita fashion YouTuber. So if you are into alternative fashion, go over to Lovely Lore. She's perfect. Yeah, let's keep it at that. I will list them all down below. I watched so many more, but I don't know if that's like history about Disney parks, like stuff like World, or I don't know, if you're into the Disney parks but also Star Wars, then Always Believe is a great channel. I don't know, Eileen Abrahamson is also really cool YouTuber. She does not do a lot of videos, but like recreating historical outfits, like whatever. Yeah, that was the last question about YouTube channels. So it's probably 3 videos or 4 videos, I don't know. Thank you all so much for all of the questions. Next time I will probably limit it to 1 question per person. Next time might be in a year. Maybe I'm doing another Q&A in 1 year or something. It was really exhausting. It was for me the whole day filming this. But it was also so much fun. So thank you so much for watching, for commenting, for being interested in the stuff that I share on this little channel. So I'm just so happy to have you all. So if you're kind of new to this channel and you haven't even subscribed, do that. It's free, and you just will be like notified when I upload new videos when you subscribe, and especially when you click the bell and you get a push notification. Hey, I've got a new video. Please like this video if you enjoyed this. And yeah, I will see you in the next video, which will probably be a toy hunting video, I guess. Maybe I put up my Barbie haul next. Let's see. So thank you so much for watching. See you real soon, and may the toys be with you. Let's pick a toy. Let's pick a toy.